So I don't know about you, but this whole period of self-isolation has exacerbated some of my worst procrastination tendencies. I think some amount of that is out of our control. We're in an unprecedented situation, and it's hard to stay off Twitter. But I've definitely found that I'm struggling to get all my work done. I always feel like a task is going to be much worse than it really is, even though I obviously know how to write a story. So to help us out, we're going to bring in Nir Eyal, the author of Indistractable, to talk about managing distractions and understanding the root of them. Nir, tell us about the difference between internal and external triggers that lead to distraction.
Yeah, absolutely. So we tend to blame, when it comes to distraction, we tend to blame the external triggers, the pings, the dings, the rings, anything in the outside environment that can lead us towards distraction. That's kind of the usual suspects, right? And that is legitimate, right? There are lots of external triggers. But what we find from a time study perspective, what we find tends to distract people much more is not the external triggers, but rather the internal triggers. Internal triggers are uncomfortable emotional states that we seek to escape from. Loneliness, fatigue, boredom, anxiety, uncertainty. That is the root cause of much more distraction and procrastination than the things we tend to blame, like our cell phones and technology, etc.
So there are ways to cut back on external triggers, but internal triggers can be a little trickier to handle. How would you recommend effectively managing those?
Absolutely. So this is the first place to start. This is really the elephant in the room, that procrastination and distraction is not a character flaw. You see, when it comes to distraction and procrastination, people tend to fall into two categories. We have what we call the blamers and the shamers. The blamers, they say, oh, it's Slack, it's Facebook, it's my boss, it's my kids. The other extreme is the shamer. The shamer doesn't blame things outside themselves, they shame themselves. They say, oh, I always do this. I always get distracted. I'm such a procrastinator. They make it part of their identity. Here I go again. I'm so lazy. I'm not good at this job. And so doing all that shame has been shown to increase that discomfort associated with these internal triggers. And what do we do when we feel more uncomfortable? We look for escape with more distraction. So we don't want to be a blamer. We don't want to be a shamer. We want to be what we call a claimer. A claimer claims responsibility not for their feelings. This is a really important point. You cannot control your urges and feelings. You do not have control over them, just like you can't control the urge to sneeze. What you can do is control how you respond to those sensations, right? You can respond to that urge to sneeze by sneezing all over everyone and getting them sick, and it's super gross, or you can pick up a handkerchief, right? So you can choose how you respond, hence the word responsibility. Because one of the things we have to first appreciate about these emotional triggers is that feeling bad is not bad, okay? A lot of people, especially because I blame the self-help community for this, a lot of people are told that if you're not happy all the time, how many books have happy in the title? And if you're not, contented with your life, if everything isn't super awesome all the time, then something's wrong with you. That is the biggest load of malarkey. That is not true. Feeling bad is not bad. We have to stop thinking of it as bad. Feeling discomfort is a signal, right? It's a prompt that gets you to do something. Now, what you do with that sensation is up to you. So what I teach is methods from acceptance and commitment therapy. It's, this is decades old research around how we can harness that discomfort so that it leads us towards traction rather than distraction.
Hello, I'm Mahisha Dellinger, founder and CEO of Curls Beauty Brands. I'm having the most amazing time working from home. Well, this is the real Mahisha. And the real Mahisha isn't put together because she has 3 children at home, all of whom are being homeschooled. So productivity has tanked for me while we go through this transitional time. And I'm relying on my team members to take over key meetings and video conferences just to get me through. And this is my home office. This is where I typically do all my writing. I like to spend time brainstorming different collections, marketing plans, etc. I have to have a separate space for doing that. And then this is where I actually commute. And you see I have a can of antibacterial spray. And all my printing is done here, computing here. and writing and brainstorming here, and a little inspiration of some of my accomplishments.